Melody, sorry. But the reality is, he hasn't changed at all. The latest episodes, interviews, receipts, and his recent behavior prove that Melody, his ex-wife and the mother of his children, has endured so much. She has opened up about the cheating, the lies, the manipulation, and even her claims of physical aggression and abuse. Through it all, she has carried herself with strength. But it is impossible to ignore the heavy pressure she has faced along the way. What makes it even more concerning is that Martell has been divorced from Melody for years, yet her name still lingers in his mouth. Her life continues to be part of his narrative. Why? Because he has never been able to accept that she walked away, rebuilt herself, and found success without him. That reality eats away at him. Even more telling is how Marsau and Maurice, who once laughed things off or ignored Martell's behavior, are now acting surprised. But longtime viewers know exactly who Martell is. His actions have always revealed the same selfish, manipulative patterns. Arione Curry, the woman he carried on a long-term affair with, was once described by Martell as potential wife material only if she cooked, cleaned, and catered to him. That's Martell in a nutshell, expecting loyalty and submission, without offering anything real in return. To make matters worse, Martell has been trying to discredit Melody's abuse claims by pulling up old clips of her denying it. But anyone who understands the cycle of abuse knows that many women deny their experiences at first. They do it to protect themselves, to avoid embarrassment, or to shield their children. When Melody once said Martell wasn't abusive, it doesn't erase her later truth. It simply shows that at the time she was protecting herself. That's why so many people believe her and why his attempts to flip the narrative fall flat. Instead of taking responsibility, Martell does what he always does: project, manipulate, and play the victim. We saw it during his marriage in court, and we are still seeing it today. Now the Scotts find themselves entangled in the fallout. Back when Martell and Melody's marriage was falling apart, Marsau and Leticia had plenty to say. They turned Melody's pain into conversation, commentary, and even entertainment. But now that Martell is dragging their names into the mud, suddenly it is too far. Marsau in particular has been heated, and we know why. Martell has accused him of cheating, even claiming they were involved with the same women. He has also thrown out accusations about Leticia's past in college. Whether true or not, the fact that Martell would say such things publicly shows his lack of loyalty. Yet Marsau acts brand new, as though he never knew Martell was capable of this. Be honest, they have been friends for years. He knew. Maurice, on the other hand, is trying to play the role of the concerned friend, suggesting Martell needs help with his mental health. But this doesn't read as genuine concern. It looks more like damage control. A woman recently claimed she had been involved with both Maurice and Martell, and rather than firmly denying the rumor, Maurice is deflecting by focusing on Martell's state of mind. Meanwhile, Kimmy Scott's silence speaks volumes. If the claims about Maurice were completely false, wouldn't she be defending her husband loudly? Instead, she has stayed quiet, which tells us more than words ever could. Here's the bigger picture. Martell Holt has always been manipulative, arrogant, and destructive. The only difference now is that Marsau and Maurice are finally feeling the fire themselves. When Melody was the one suffering, they dismissed her and even mocked her. But now that Martell is turning on them, suddenly it's a problem. This is what happens when you align yourself with someone like Martell Holt sooner or later. His chaos burns everyone around him. And after all this time, Martell still hasn't moved on. He has been divorced from Melody for over 5 years. Arione was really the woman he wanted. His energy would be focused on her. Instead, he is still chasing after arguments with Melody. Rolling down car windows to confront her about her dating life, all while Arione sits in the passenger seat. That tells us everything. He has not let go, and his obsession with controlling Melody is still alive. Sadly, Arione doesn't see that this means she will never fully have him, because his heart and attention are still tied to the past. In the end, Martell's behavior isn't just embarrassing for him, it exposes the Scots as well. Marsau and Maurice knew who he was all along, yet they looked the other way until his fire reached their doorstep. Melody, on the other hand, proved her strength by walking away and thriving on her own. Now the Scots are left dealing with the same Martell they once defended while he continues to spin in the same destructive cycle he's always lived in. What makes this situation even more ironic is how quickly people forget the past. Martell has shown us exactly who he is for years, but many chose to dismiss Melody's warnings. She spoke her truth, but because she carried herself with grace and refused to fall apart in public, her pain was minimized. Now, when the Scots feel this sting of Martell's betrayal, suddenly everyone wants to talk about boundaries, loyalty, and respect. The truth is, this isn't new behavior. It's the same Martell. Only this time, the target has changed. Another piece of the puzzle is Carlos King as the producer. He often throws in commentary about marriage, family, and relationships. But even his comments sometimes highlight the double standard. He'll say things like happy wife, happy life, as if the Scott marriages are glowing examples. But when viewers take a closer look, those marriages often show women carrying the weight, keeping up appearances and sacrificing their own joy while their husbands run the narrative. Leticia recently celebrated 19 years of marriage to Marsau, but many couldn't help noticing that her celebration looked more exhausting than joyful. And honestly, can anyone blame her? She has dealt with constant embarrassment, rumors, allegations of cheating, and now Martell dragging her name into his mess. That takes a toll on any woman. The reality is that Martell thrives in chaos, and he has always found ways to pull others into it. He records arguments, twists narratives, and plays the victim to gain sympathy while still being the aggressor. He projects his faults onto others so he doesn't have to face himself. The Scots tolerated this behavior as long as it wasn't directed at them, but now they are realizing what Melody had to survive for years. And the truth is, if they were paying attention back then, none of this should come as a surprise at the core. This is about accountability.